The Duval Rundown, driven by Jacksonville Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Westside, home of the lifetime warranty.
Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Duval Rundown. I am Hayes Carline. Please be joined as always on Wednesday with Ryan O'Halloran, sports columnist of the Florida Times-Union. You can read Ryan's work at jacksonville.com and follow him on Twitter and X at Ryan O'Halloran. Ryan, good morning. How you doing?
I'm good. Hayes, it's good to see you without a black eye or a broken nose or broken glasses after your weekend in Vegas, where, as we know, there was one rule, no rules.
That's right. It was. We had a great time. I tell you what, it was a remarkable showing by the Jaguars fans. There was a huge contingent, and it certainly was a lot of fun celebrating a big win with all of them. So, and unfortunately, the Gators didn't play well the following night, but still have a lot of hopes for Todd Golden's squad and repeat effort. Yeah,
and what an awesome stadium!
Oh yeah. I mean,
it
really is
the standard. So.
Yeah, I agree. We were all really impressed with it. So hopefully for Jaguar fans that have never gone over there, definitely would recommend it. They do a first-class job, and obviously, Ryan, kind of a season-shifting kind of win. I think we can say we talked about the importance of the Jaguars coming out of the bye and beating a Raiders team that was struggling. It wasn't pretty at times. There were certainly a lot of things that we can get to in terms of things, corrections and injuries. But on the whole, what were some of your big takeaways from the win before we get to obviously a very active trade deadline for the Jaguars?
Yeah, they needed a win. Doesn't matter how it happens. 30-29. Offensively, what you have to like is they rushed 42 times. They scored some points. They got a record field goal. But I think what the biggest thing was is they sort of got things fixed on third down, which means they kept the ball. They ran a lot of plays, not a lot of big plays, which maybe we'll get to with the trade for Meyers. But I thought defensively is you're always going to be playing uphill when the other team has by far the most superior player in the game, which was Brock Bowers. I mean, What a terrific player. The Jags had no answers for him. Like a lot of teams won't have answers for him. But it's not a lot of pass rush. They got a key turnover that produced 3 points, which turned out to be a difference. So, but yes, a critical win that may have impacted their move for Jakobi Meyers.
And let's get to that. Do you like the trade? The Jaguars send a 4th and a 6th to the Raiders to get a receiver that is very dependable.
Yeah, it's when need meets opportunity. They needed receiver help. They needed receiver help if all their receivers were healthy. They really needed receiver help with the injuries to Brown and Patrick and Thomas. So and Hunter. So the 4th and the 6th, that leads me to believe that this is not just a rental. They feel like they're going to keep Jakobi Meyers here after this season. Probably not even let him hit the market. But 87 catches, 82 catches last year for Meyers. So he becomes their number one. Get him a package of plays this week, get him ready to go for Houston, and then start adding to his plate. Because right now, Parker Washington was the passing game against Las Vegas. Now, if you just want to spin it forward a week or two, you'll have Meyers up to speed. You'll have Brenton Strange, the tight end, back from IR. And then maybe you've figured something out with Brian Thomas. And also you see that Trevor Lawrence has trust in Parker Washington. That's better than what they had last week.
Yeah, without a doubt. And how long do you think, what's realistic for Jakobi Meyers in terms of a role Sunday at Houston and moving forward? What's a fair expectation for him?
Yeah, and that's something I want to ask Liam Cohn later this morning is, are we making too much out of this transition happening in a couple of days of practice? I mean, we're trying to crack the atom, or is it basically saying, hey, this is the route you're running on this play. This is what it's called. We'll be there to coach you up. So I would expect him to have a big role, maybe not 75% of the snaps, but can he give you 30 snaps? Can he play on third down? Can he play on red zone? So I would expect that would be my expectation for Sunday for Meyers. And then moving forward, he's got to be rejuvenated. He was playing on a team that was not good, that was not going to give him a new contract, that he wanted to get out of, which he did. So, when guys leave a losing team and go to a team in playoff contention, that does give them a figurative B12 shot.
Yeah, without a doubt, that's a great point. I also like the fact that Meyers, undrafted free agent, has really made something of himself in this league and plays with some savvy, toughness. That room needs a leader. Mm-hmm. That room needs somebody that can say, this is how a consummate pro at receiver handles their business. How much can Meyers help, not just from, obviously on the field catching passes? How much do you think he can help the younger receivers, with maybe a tip or two?
I think greatly. And that guy has been Tim Patrick, who is a veteran, who is vocal. But when you're not playing, when you're like the fifth guy, the words only can go so far. So I think once Meyers gets in here, he can be an example. His familiarity with the receivers coach Edgar Bennett, that should help the transition as well. So so I thought it was a good move. And you look around the league, Hayes, receivers were going for 2 picks. New Orleans traded their guy to Seattle for a 4th and a 5th. I think that's also an expiring contract. So the Raiders knew the Jaguars were urgent, and I thought the Raiders made a good trade for a guy who didn't want to be there.
Were you surprised at all that the Jaguars didn't address the defense as well, or the price tag was obviously it takes 2, and was the price just, in your opinion, probably too high to get in on Quinnen Williams or try and help the defense in any way?
Yeah, I mean, price, they probably didn't have the capacity to do a Quinnen Williams deal. But you did not see the only guy that I would have had my eye on was Jalen Phillips from Miami, who can, when healthy, he can be an impactful player. I covered a couple of Bills-Dolphins games back in the day where he was very good. So that was the one guy that said, hey, Philadelphia gave him a 3rd. Well, the Jakes don't have a 1, so they probably want to hang on to their 3rds. So that's probably where they felt the price was too high. You did not. But there weren't any other trades in the league on defense yesterday where I thought, well, the Jags should have been in on that guy. There wasn't a lot of movement at safety. There wasn't a lot of other movement at edge rusher, because if you got a good one, even if you're a terrible team, you're probably going to hang on to him. So I thought going into yesterday, it was definitely going to be a receiver of some sort. But they probably exceeded my bar on what kind of receiver I thought they were going to get.
Yeah, because Meyers is well-rounded. I mean, how would you, for people that aren't familiar with his game, he kind of can do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, and he had a high yards per catch a couple years ago. Now it's you watched him against the Jags. It just sort of just a workman-like guy. You can get him downfield, but he makes the catch. I think he made the catch where Ventrell Miller got called for that awful penalty where he tackled the guy. Yeah, tackled him. And it's like, that's 15. You can't do that. That's violence.
You can't do that in this league, son.
I mean, give me a break. I mean, the NFL's emphasis on flag football is admirable, but it shouldn't happen on Sundays. But
it was ridiculous.
So what I like about what I saw Meyers, and I'll dig into him here in the next couple of days, is he just looked like he knew what he was doing on 3rd down. He knew where the marker was. He was pretty, refined in his route running ability. So he's wide receiver number 1 right now.
Yeah, without a doubt. Jacob Simon's helping us out on Duval Rundown. We certainly appreciate the technical wizard that is Jacob and making it so easy for Ryan and I to do this. Jacob, let's say hello to our sponsors, please.
I'm Rick Ballou, Jacksonville Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Westside, proud partner of the Jaguars. Drive with confidence. Every new vehicle comes with our exclusive lifetime warranty. 7030 Commonwealth Avenue or online at jackswest.com.
All right, Ryan, we got to get down to the stadium, obviously, for Liam Cohen's presser coming up. A couple of things I want to touch on in our second half here. Let's start with injuries. It didn't seem like Liam wanted to get too far into that on Monday, but it's starting to become a pretty staggering list. Give us, kind of where you assess this thing, and obviously we'll learn more, and we'll certainly learn more at some point today when they release the injury report. We'll see how much Liam wants to get into it, but what are your kind of concerns when you look at the attrition coming out of the Raiders game?
Well, the fact he didn't want to get into it on Monday told me the head football coach got some bad news earlier in the day. So, but let's start with Devin Lloyd. You got to get him back. I mean, they are – Ventrell Miller tries hard. He's a good tackler in the run game, but they are missing Devin Lloyd in the pass game. But the calves are tricky. You don't want to come back, re-injure it, now you're out a month. So that's a concern. The receiver stuff, De'Ami Brown is in the concussion protocol. Brian Thomas has the left ankle. A big one is Ezra Cleveland. He went down the last offensive play regulation, got sort of sideswiped behind with the knee and the ankle. So that's a concern. So it is a long list. That doesn't include the guys that are on IR. So, they have injury problems, and so does Houston.
Yeah, without a doubt. Let's start talking about Houston. Obviously, a chance for the Jaguars to get a season sweep over the Texans. That would be a huge feather in Liam Cohen's cap in year one to sweep the two-time reigning defending AFC South champion. Houston is we don't know about CJ Stroud, but let's assume he clears protocol and plays. What do you think will be some things the Jaguars have to do on Sunday to go to Houston and get a win?
Well, you got to continue Houston's misery on third down and in the red zone. The Texans are 31st on third down. They're last in the red zone. They're tied for 24th in points. They got Nico Collins back. They have some good young receivers, but I did watch the Texans Broncos game this morning, and there's really nothing there that should scare you. I mean, because Collins right now is only catching short passes. They aren't really challenging teams down the field. Dalton Schultz is the safety guy at tight end. So you got to be aware of him. But, Titus Howard, one of the offensive linemen, he's also in the concussion protocol. But let's talk about Stroud. If they go to Davis Mills, the ball's not going to go in the air more than 5-6 yards. I mean, that was their on the fly game plan. Get it out of his hands, maybe put him on the move a little bit. But I think
he's terrible. If he plays and the Jaguars lose the game, to me, shame on the Jaguars. I think Davis Mills is atrocious when I've watched him.
Yeah, so challenge him. Two things about the Texans that stand out. One, they're awesome on special teams. And two, their defense is playing lights out. I mean, they're first in yards, first in points, third on third down. And they just rush four. They say, our four is going to beat your five. You're going to make a mistake. I mean, the Broncos looked terrible on offense for most of that game until D'Amico Ryans basically said, Sean Payton, here's the game. You want it? And Sean Payton said, sure, I'll take it, and kicked the winning field goal. Houston got the ball in a tie game with 1:12 left. They kicked it back to the Broncos with 50 seconds left. Instead of just saying, hey, I got Davis Mills at quarterback. I'm in my own territory. Let's play for overtime. And the Broncos said, thank you very much. So as far as, my pick in this game, if it's Stroud, I'd probably pick the Texans. If it's Mills, I'd pick the Jaguars.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. And it will be a challenge for this Jaguars offense. I'm also intrigued. Liam Cohen's done such a fantastic job so far as coach, but this is a new test. It's the first time that he's seen an opponent for the second time. The Texans, to their credit, in Jacksonville, threw a heavier box at the Jaguars, slowed down that ground game that at the time was one of the NFL's best. I think it's going to be fun to see Liam Cohen, and I'm excited to hear him talk about that challenge today. The opportunity to have one of these for the first time in his career as a head coach.
Yeah, and there's enough of a time span there where, and one thing I have on my list to ask him is, do you have an encyclopedic recall of that game, or do you really go back and dig into it? Because you mentioned how Houston came out and threw him a curveball the run game. So has Houston done that to other teams? And also, what about their pass rush? What makes, they sort of overload a little bit. They put three of their defensive linemen on one side of the line. So that's an adjustment. So, but I think, if the Jaguars can come in that Las Vegas game, they say, hey, Travis Etienne should get 20 carries. Okay. Hey, that's what running backs do. You take big hits, you maybe throw them a couple passes, but I think the over-under, Hayes, is 38. So
yeah, take the under.
Take the under. So I think this is going to be sort of a fist fight, and I think the Jaguars. probably felt like they found something in the run game. They tried to do some screen stuff, still got nothing out of that. They introduced the wild card at the goal line. I kind of like that. And then on defense, if I'm the Texans going against this Jaguar defense, I just find number 42 and I say, I'm going to go after Wenger and I'm going to make his life miserable because teams have had success doing that, but the Jaguars don't have any other options.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Great stuff. Well, Ryan, we certainly appreciate it. Always fun talking with you on Wednesday, and we'll certainly look forward to doing it next week on Duval Rundown. On Friday, Rick Ballou will join me for Duval Rundown, so that'll be fun. Ryan, tell us what's coming up in the Times Union.
Well, thanks for doing that. Winners and losers of the trade deadline will be in Thursday's paper. And then I'll look at the Wildcat later in the week and how that came about.
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, I'll see you soon, hopefully, down at the stadium. That's going to do it for us. For Ryan O'Halloran, for Jacob Simons, I'm Hayes Carlisle. And thanks for watching Duval Rundown. And hopefully we'll be talking about a Houston sweep. The Jaguars go to Houston and get a sweep. Can it happen? We'll certainly look forward to seeing if they can do it. That would pretty much be the knockout punch on the Texans and a huge win for Liam Cohen and the Jaguars. We'll look forward to talking with you next week, next Wednesday on Duval Rundown with Ryan. I'll be back Friday with Rick Ballou for our final thoughts before the Jaguars head to Houston. Have a great day.